that the presidential election was generally seen to be free, fair, and peaceful. However, there was in fact a huge array of electoral malpractices virtually in all the states of the Federation.
In the aftermath of the annulled June 12, 2023 elections, Nigeria's fairest and freest vote, chaos filled the nation. But behind the public drama, a secret betrayal was unfolding. According to the former military ruler, General Ibrahim Babangida, it wasn't just the annulment that crushed Abiola's dream. It was a web of deception, formed by none other than General Sani Abacha. Hi guys, welcome to AfriVerse Historic. On today's episode, we dive into Babangida's shocking revelations about how Abacha allegedly deceived M.K.O. Abiola with promises of restoration, only to imprison him and destroy the hope for a new Nigeria. Do stay tuned and enjoy the ride. In June 12, 1993, Chief M.K.O. Abiola, a Muslim businessman and philanthropist, ran for presidency of Nigeria and appeared to win the popular vote in what was considered a free and fair election. The vote was annulled by Nigeria's military leader on the basis that the election was corrupt. When Abiola rallied support to claim the presidency, he was arrested for treason by the military regime led by General Sani Abacha and sent to prison for 4 years. Religious and human rights activists from across the globe called for his release. General Ibrahim Babangida IBP, the man at the center of the annulment of June 12, 1993 presidential election, has disclosed that he made a conciliatory offer to Chief Abiola, presumed winner of the then election, to head an interim national government, where the intrigues which concerned the annulment were being sorted out. IBB said he made the offer to Abiola after a series of brainstorming meetings and consultations, including with traditional rulers and Abiola and his family members. But Abiola, IBB disclosed, flatly rejected the offer for 2 reasons. 1. Abiola already knew he won the election fair and square. So why an interim head? Why not the main thing? But the second reason, and most important, according to IBB, was late former head of state General Sani Abacha, who IBB said deceived Abiola, pretending to be Abiola's friend, even though IBB said Abacha had a deep-rooted hatred for him, referring to Abiola. He convinced Abiola to reject the offer and instead gave him the impression that once he, IBB, is removed from office, he, Abacha, would de-annul June 12 and install Abiola as president. What Abiola did not know, said IBB, is that Abacha was literally the main brain behind the annulment, as he, Abacha, was hell-bent on the military not handing over to a civilian government. He also said that Abacha and his group were those who deceived Abiola into proceeding on exile and arrested and detained him as soon as he came back to Nigeria. Abiola's absence, he said, gave Abacha and Co. the opportunity to consolidate their plans and position. These revelations, like claps of thunder, came as IBB tried to explain exactly the intrigues that surrounded the annulment of June 12, 1993 elections, which his regime annulled. If you find this video worthwhile, please take out some time to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as it goes a long way in supporting our efforts. Thank you. Now let's get back to the video. 32 years after the annulment of the election, considered free and fair, General Babangida, the man who announced the annulment, finally has the courage to publicly admit that indeed, Chief Abiola won the election.
Credible, free and fair elections were held on June 12, 1993. However, the tragic irony of history remains that the administration that devised a near-perfect electoral system and conducted those near-perfect elections could not complete the process. That accident of history is most regrettable. The nation is entitled to expect my impression of regret. As the leader of the military administration, I accept full responsibility for all decisions taken under my watch. And June 12 happened under my watch. Mistakes Oversights and missteps happen in quick succession, but I say in my book, in all matters we acted in the supreme national interest.
Abiola of Social Democratic Party SDP had slugged it out with Bashir Tofa of the National Republican Convention NRC. Writing in his autobiography, A Journey in Service, which was presented to the public in Abuja on Thursday, February 20, 2025, IBB said at a point, he told Abiola that both their lives were on the line. He wrote, and I quote, "At one of my several meetings with Abiola, arranged this time by some traditional leaders, I offered Abiola an interim position, pending when he could resolve the situation. Not surprisingly, Abiola turned the offer down. How could anyone blame him? Since he was convinced that he won the elections, that the annulment had denied him, it seemed overtly inappropriate to accept an interim arrangement. For him, it was a matter of once bitten, twice shy." At another meeting this time, a more private meeting of both families, I articulated that our lives were in danger of being snuffed out by lurking forces that wished both of us ill. Unfortunately, Abiola turned his back on rapprochement with me and embraced the gimmicks of deceitful friends who hid their real intentions from him. I read somewhere, I believe, in one of Abiola's newspapers, that Abiola thought that the moment these friends overthrew me, the elections would be annulled and that he would be installed as president by his coup-plotting friends. As it turned out, Abiola was advised by these same friends to leave the country to avoid death threats from fictitious military elements. Abiola's departure paved way for his friends to consolidate their conspiracy positions, eventually leading to another military takeover. Without question, one of my biggest headaches at this time was Sani Abacha. I knew Abacha was ambivalent about a return to civilian rule, but I thought in retrospect now, naively, that he would support our transition to civil rule program. As I said earlier, Abacha and I had come a long way. We were good friends, and he had indeed been nice to me. As I have said elsewhere, he saved my life once, and also risked his life to ensure that I took over in 1985. I could never forget these details. But it's also correct that he was a complex character. He was capable of bottling up a lot inside, without giving a hint of where he was. And then, suddenly, the bottle bursts, and we begin to see a different person. I obviously didn't know everything about him. For instance, I was alarmed to discover that he and a handful of others mobilized negative opinions about me within the military, portraying me as the problem. That campaign was geared towards a violent military coup to remove me as president forcefully. But even more bizarre for me was my discovery of the loathing that Abacha had for a person of Abiola, whom I thought had a good relationship with him. The day Babangida stepped aside, August 15, 1993, he handed over to Chief M.K.O as interim head of state. But in November 1993, Abacha overthrew the interim government set up by Babangida. He it was who arrested Abiola, clamped him into detention for declaring himself president in April 1994, and charged him for treason.
There's a large crowd here, and I was being escorted out to detention by singing the national anthem.
Why are they arresting you?
They are arresting me on an allegation of felony, namely treason or something like that. They're not doing anything, they're just taking me away. Please let me go. I'm delaying them.
And so where are you now? Are you in your car?
I'm in my car now.
Is it police who are with you in your car, or are they escorted?
Yes, the commissioner of police is in the car with me, and my senior wife is in the car with me.
Why are they letting you talk on the phone to the BBC while they're in the middle of arresting you?
They have come to arrest me, not to arrest my mouth.
You sound very cheerful about it, Chief Abiola.
Of course. It's all part of democracy here.
And you're happy to go to the police and await whatever charges they're going to file against you?
I'm not in any way disturbed by it. Any sacrifice is in order if it will bring democracy, peace and prosperity to Nigeria.
Is it possible to talk to the Commissioner of Police who's with you in the car?
I don't know if the Commissioner of Police is authorized to talk. He cannot talk to the press.
What is your advice now to your supporters, many of whom we heard a moment ago?
Well, I told them before I left home to just stay calm. It is very, very important that they stay calm.
So you're appealing for calm, you don't want them to take any direct action in your support?
No.
You still say you're the president of Nigeria, but it's not much good if you're going to be in jail.
Well, Mandela was in jail for 27 years. Kenyatta was in jail. I suppose that is one of the qualifications you need in this part of the world. Don't worry.
Democratic replacement, not an illegitimate replacement. Anything he puts in place will be as illegitimate as himself after 27th of August 1993.
After 4 years in detention, Chief Abiola finally came home on Saturday. But instead of the hero's welcome his supporters had hoped to give him when this day arrived, Chief Abiola was making this final journey in a coffin. It was an emotional moment for his family and the small crowd of followers who were waiting to receive the body in the early morning. For some, it was just too much. Chief Abiola's funeral had been postponed since his death on Tuesday from an apparent heart attack, so that an official post-mortem could be performed. The Nigerian authorities have been anxious to disprove allegations by his supporters that foul play was involved, and a team of international...
Both men died suddenly in 1998. Abacha in June 1998 inside Aso Rock, and Abiola in July at his detention center. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I would really love to know your thoughts about General Ibrahim Babangida's shocking revelation of how Abacha allegedly deceived Abiola, the winner of the June 12 Nigerian election. Do you think Babangida is lying, or do you think he's telling the truth? Judging that these men are not here anymore to defend themselves, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification button to get more content like this about African history. It's been Namdi from Afriverse Historic. See you in the next video.